Okay, so good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome you here in Luxembourg at the Moon Village Workshop and Symposium. So I suggest to get started, and as a first speaker, I would like to welcome on stage Giuseppe Ribaldi from the Moon Village Association.
Okay, so thank you and good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome, as I said, on behalf, of course, both organizations which are organizing this event, Luxembourg Space Agency and the Moon Village Association, to this 8th workshop. Mark, the CEO of LSA, will talk later, so he will say his side. So I have the pleasure to say a few words now at the beginning. So let me first start by saying that this is the first event of the Space Week, okay? So, and this is the Moon Village Workshop. So let's make sure that you are in the right place at the right time. So having checked that, that's good. Then I think, as I said, Luxembourg and the place where we are is a special country. It is a special country because they believed about 10 years ago in space resources. And they initiated, and I had the pleasure to be together with some of the present here at the start of this discussion about 10 years ago. And so since then, they really have brought forward a lot of activity, given the size of the country, and they have created a remarkable ecosystem in the industrial as well as in the university part. And so for that, I think we all should thank them because they are really leading the effort in Europe. And as a result of that, basically, when people were talking about space resources, I was talking with some of our LSA colleagues, and I was telling them, look, at the end of the day, lunar resources what space resources is. And so today, the fact that the Moon Village Association is here, it's a clear, let's say, acknowledgement that also LSA has realized that indeed, for the foreseeable future, space resources equal lunar resources. And so therefore, the Space Resource Week, which they successfully held, organized also by ESRIC and many other organizations, I think is really a mover and a leader in Europe. And in Europe, which is not so much sensitive for the moon, I think this is an important development for us. So today, basically, we are going to talk about many topics, and tomorrow. And of course, later on, you will hear from the International Program Committee co-chair how it's going to develop. But let me thank again the two organizations, staff of the LSA and contractor of the LSA, as well Moon Village Association staff and contractor that they have worked. I need to make sure that I remind to thank the gold sponsor, PwC Japan, where basically we have a strong Japanese participation. And I think what is important is now that I take this opportunity to say a few words about the Moon Village Association to start with. So hopefully it's not going to be too long. So if I can have the first chart, please. So I think the next one, please. But I think I can move it myself. Okay, so this is going to explain for the people which are not aware what is the organization. So the organization was created in 2017 with the main goal to bring together basically multi-stakeholder for discussing about basically peaceful cooperation. That is the main element. So the organization is registered in Vienna, and it is basically also part of the International Astronautical Federation, and we are playing, we hope, an important role in the COPUOS as a permanent observer. So what is unique of this organization, which is, I have to say, neutral and global. I think these are two important features that we like to keep, and it's from the very beginning. So we have about 50 to 60 country participants in this organization, which can be joined by individual as well as industrial level. And so we have a number also of industry, as you can see. You can see also there the percentage between male and female. So the organization, I would say, being the president and co-founder, is really unique and is expanding as we will discuss and you will see during the day. And of course, we are partnering time by time with different organizations around the world. So I'm not going to spend time about the activity, because during the 2 days there will be, let's say, a lot of these discussed in different, let's say, in different sessions. I like just to highlight a few of them. The organization basically has project and working group. What is the difference between project and working group? Projects are basically activity which require budget. And so they have their own budget, and they are administrated, and they are running like a project. So they have a project plan. The other one, they are working group, where basically people on a voluntary basis, they work together. The same is valid for all the MVA. And so let me therefore talk about very briefly about, let's say, those two projects. One is to deal with lunar governance. You all know that many spacecraft are going to the moon, and many of them, they are going very close to the South Pole. And so many years ago, I think in 2019, if not earlier, we recognized that there was a need to really try to get around a virtual table, the major stakeholder, to discuss how to behave, basically, on and around the moon. That gave the birth to the Global Expert Group on Sustainable Lunar Activity, which is a group which has been operating since then. We have here the pleasure to have the chairman of the group, which is Dorin Prinario, which he will be chairing later on a session, a panel discussion. And so we published this document, which has been distributed extensively to all member states of the COPOS. And I have to say, we can consider that it has been inspirational also to drive discussion together with the new management of UNOSA about the importance of coordinating lunar activity at the COPOS. And so the result of that is that Romania, in the person of Dorin, happens to be also the chairman of the GEXLA, initiated some actions which brought, to make it short, to the approval of ATLAC, which is the action team on lunar consultation activity, which hopefully will see its start of activity early next year. But okay, Dorin will be talking about this more extensively. So we can say that our activity has been clearly an incubator of those work at the level of COPOS. The work of GEXLA is in an operational phase and is continuing, because there is a lot of activity, as we will see later, talk about environment and many others, coordination between ILRS, Artemis, and so on and so forth, that do require to be continued. So GEXLA will continue. Again, there is a session also tomorrow, chaired by Professor Mark Sandel, which will talk about many of these things. So I think that is an important topic. The other topic, which is a project, is the International Moon Day. MVA proposed the creation of the International Moon Day to the United Nations in August 2021. And for a number of reasons, particular circumstances, the United Nations approved this very fast, approved it in 4 months. And so with this fast track, in December 2021, this was approved by the General Assembly and is now operational since 2022. So we believe it's an important complementary activity to act as a platform, particularly for outreach and involving countries around the world. You can see there, we don't have time to go through, but there will be a presentation with the chairman of the International Moon Day, which we'll talk about. But you can see the distribution of, let's say, what we call global event and main event has been quite spread around the globe. And the main event have started from United States. They went to Korea, and this year we had the pleasure to be in China, where they organized a wonderful International Moon Day. Now, and so you can see here basically what was the theme of the International Moon Day, which was held in Harbin, China. Now, as far as next year is concerned, you need to bear with us till the end of the day, because around 6 o'clock we will make the announcement of what's going to be the next International Moon Day location, the next team, and the next workshop. And in general, we will announce a very important partnership for the organization. And so you please need to wait a few hours. So the other few element I want to speak is the architecture working group. So we have been trying to define, the Moon Village does not have a church and then a mayor, so it's not the way we conceive, the village on the moon, but it is basically multi-stakeholder assets, and so there has been quite a lot of work by senior people in the organization to look particularly on the building blocks of the different elements of the Moon Village, which is what is needed also to have space resources. Space resources, lunar resources, cannot be in isolation. They are linked to architecture, and this is also what we are trying to bring there. Another activity which we are very proud is participation of space emergency country. There is a number of countries around the world which do not have space agencies, they are not even in COPOS, but they are extremely interested in lunar activity. And so we have been reaching out to them, or the other way around, they've been reaching out to us, and so we are trying to go with them through what we call the roadmap. And so this is an important activity. Nearly coming to the end, we have also presence around the globe about the different people, because you need to be on site in the place in order to organize a lot of local events where I think is the importance of informing them. And then I'd like to end my presentation with a new initiative which we are about to start. And this is in cooperation with some US organization, in particular the Human Spaceflight Organization of Frank White, Overview Effect. Some of you might be familiar with it. So I think basically what we are trying to do is to try to bring together the lunar exploration and climate change. Now, of course, that seems what has got to do one with the other. It seems extremely strange. In reality, it is not, because Earth and Moon, they are much more connected than what we think. And so I think this is kind of an effort to try to bring together also lunar and environmental scientists to see what are the connections and what in practice can mean the lunar exploration for Earth environment. And so this is an initiative which we are just starting. We had the first event during the Earth Day. Again, more detail will be given tomorrow. So I think this was my last chart, but in conclusion, what I would like to conclude is saying that the moon is the next giant leap of humanity, which is going through some trouble and difficulty, as we all know, but therefore that's why it's even more important to make the moon an international laboratory of peace and development for the good of humanity. And with that, I'd like to wish you an excellent workshop. Thank you.
So, my name is Bob Lombre from the Luxembourg Space Agency, and together,
from the Moon Village.
Yeah, we work together on the. We were co-chairing the International Program Committee for this year's edition, and in the next few minutes, I will briefly present to you what will happen in the next 2 days and how the program will look like. Yeah. So the event will last 2 days. We have today and tomorrow. You cannot see the colors on this. That's okay. The slide has some colors, but
It's the room.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so today we have only plenary sessions, so we will be the whole day will be happening in this room, whereas tomorrow morning there are 2 parallel sessions. So one of the sessions will be in this room, and the other one will be 1 floor just behind where you got your coffee this morning. Today we have mainly in the morning we have keynotes, so general presentations, and then later today and mostly tomorrow, more technical presentations. The sessions will be chaired by a person, as you can see on the right, and then the event finishes every day around 6 o'clock in the afternoon. We also have panels. We have five different panels. So one on lunar governance, one on lunar economy, on lunar resources, on lunar infrastructure, and last but not least, tomorrow afternoon we have a very interesting panel on a Woman to the Moon, organized by the Women in Aerospace Association in Luxembourg. Around that, also very important, coffee breaks, lunch, and Wi-Fi code. So, but the sessions, the morning will be split in two. We have a coffee break to network, but from 10:30 to 11. We have a lunch break 1 to 2. We have another coffee break 4 to 4:30, and then later today in the evening there's a space cafe, and there's another slide on that. So today, the coffee break and the lunch break will be organized in the place where you got your coffee this morning, so on -1. This is -2. Whereas tomorrow we have the same times, but it will be organized on the first floor where you got into the building, and it will be jointly a shared coffee break and shared lunch with New Space Europe, which is also happening at the same time in this building. And then last but not least, on Tuesday evening, there's a walking dinner, also organized together with the New Space Europe conference. So all in all, we have 6 space agencies that will be presenting and sharing their thoughts. We have 8 keynotes and 37 technical presentations today and tomorrow, with 40 speakers from more than 20 countries. There are 2 different award ceremonies. So one is organized by the Moon Village Association, and that will be today, later this afternoon. And then there's another one organized by the European Space Resource Innovation Center, by Anastina, on the startup support program from the latest cohort. And then, as Giuseppe already mentioned in his introduction, there is at the end of today, the Moon Village will announce the next International Moon Day event where it will take place. And then, this is the Space Cafe. So that's a fun part of the Moon Village this year. Is organized this evening. It's in this building, in the auditorium. You will find there will be people guiding you to the auditorium. Is in that part of the building, and it's a space cafe with a science fiction authors night. So there are three science fiction authors, and Alessandro has the pleasure to moderate the panel and have some fun talks. And to get started, there will be also a trivia to get started for the Space Cafe. And then, last but not least, a list of the IPC members. So we met several times during the year to gather ideas and have and shape the program. There was Alessandra and myself who co-chaired that team. And then, last but not least, I think this event would not be possible without the tremendous support of the local organizing committee, the team that's behind all the logistics, all the organization. So it's Juliette, Guyen, Glavki, Giuseppe, Gunis, and Jan. And I think a big applause to them. Yes, and so okay. So this brings us to the next and first speaker of the day, is Marc Serres, from CEO from the Luxembourg Space Agency.
So, good morning to all, and welcome also from my side here in Luxembourg. I've seen that we have a few participants that are coming from the other side of the world, so it's great to see you here and to welcome you in Luxembourg. And Giuseppe, thank you very much for your nice words, and we are of course proud to partner with you here to organize this event here in Luxembourg. So as you mentioned, Giuseppe, space resources is something very important for Luxembourg. We have invested a lot of time and efforts in this initiative, but this is not where it started. A lot of people thought in 2016 that Luxembourg suddenly was involved in space activities, but it was not the case. In fact, our activity started in the middle of the 80s with a strong willingness of the government to take the opportunity of the space sector to start diversifying its economy. And that's an important element to understand. Luxembourg's motivation to develop the space activities is first an economic one. And so this is how it started. And we had a number of milestones during our history here in Luxembourg. Of course, the creation of SES in the middle of the 80s. And then in 2005, Luxembourg became also a full member state of the European Space Agency, which was a very important step also to help our ecosystem develop the technologies and innovation here in Luxembourg. 2016 was the moment where we announced the Space Resources Initiative. It was sort of bringing Luxembourg back on the map in the space domain. In 2018, the government created the Luxembourg Space Agency, and more recently, the government endorsed the very last version of its space policy, and I will say a word on that shortly. But again, very important, the main driver was originally the diversification of the economy. And so we have, in the way we support the development of this ecosystem, a very strong commercially driven mindset. And you will see as well that even though space resources is not something that will be commercial tomorrow, we are thinking anyway in that direction also for the topic of space resources. Important as well, and I think this is also something I would say that is particular in Luxembourg, there has been a very long-term commitment from the government to support this development. So developing this ecosystem is not something that you do from one day to the next. So this is a long-term investment and a long-term effort, and we have benefited from this strong political, governmental support over the years. So the last version of our strategy is structured around 4 big pillars. The first one is sustainability on Earth. So what we try to do here is to take all the benefits that the space infrastructures, space data can bring to other sectors on the Earth. I think many people still underestimate how dependent we are already today on our daily lives on the space infrastructures. And this is definitely something we need continuing to promote in the future and help also businesses from other sectors to make best use of space. And then we have sustainability in space. Sustainability in space, of course, you have seen over the last few years, humanity has launched more satellites than over the last 50 years or 60 years. And of course, we are entering in a sort of new era of activities in space or around the world, around the Earth. And so we are confronted now with sort of new challenges, and Luxembourg want to be part of tackling these challenges and creating also opportunities around guaranteeing this sustainability in orbit activities. Next pillar is related to space resources, but I will say a bit more about that in a second. And last but not least, of course, it's economic sustainability. given our strong driver in contributing to the economy, of course, we want to have here an ecosystem that is self-sustainable and that will create jobs and added value for economy on the longer term. And so that's also a very important aspect of our policy. So, and then Luxembourg Space Agency is there to implement that. And so we have today basically 4 missions to do that. So the first one is to concentrate on the support of this economic growth. So we accompany the companies in their journey, from sometimes the very start, where you have one person with a good idea going through all the process and one day become a successful and sustainable company. We also help expanding our ecosystem here, and that has different dimensions, of course. This includes, for example, also helping the ministry on the regulatory aspects. This is, supporting research activities and other type of things, but also developing the talents. And this has been a third mission of the agency, is to have here in Luxembourg the right talents, the people with the right skills to support this economic development in general. And last but not least, of course, we are very engaged on international level. So we have, in the meantime, a number of cooperations agreements with other countries, with other agencies. And of course, we serve also as an entry door for research organizations or companies who would like to partner and work with international actors. So now about space resources. Space resources is an initiative that has been started in 2016. Well, in fact, it started way before that. 2016 is when we announced it, and I would say that our team was involved already nearly 2 years before to prepare and elaborate a full strategy on this domain. And so the ambition of Luxembourg is to contribute to the peaceful exploration and sustainable utilization of space resources for the benefit of humankind. So, as I mentioned, space resources, that's not something that you will sort of exploit commercially tomorrow. And there are a number of challenges, of course, that need to be tackled here. And we have 4 main challenges that we have identified. It's, of course, the technical one. So we don't have today all the necessary technologies really to go for an industrialized way to do that. The regulatory aspects, so this is something, of course, that was much more challenging, I would say, in 2016 than it may be today, but nevertheless, we are not there yet. I would say the positive thing is that there are a lot of international discussions around this topic, and this is progressing very well. But nevertheless, I would say we are not fully ready to go for it. The business aspect, as I mentioned, we still have this in mind, that one day there is an economic opportunity as well around the utilization of space resources. And there is no market yet. And so this is a big challenge to develop all this without already a clear visibility on what the market looks like, who are the customers, what they want, etc. And last but not least, of course, all this is linked together, is the investment that is necessary for that. So there is also a financial challenge. This is also something that will require quite a lot of investments in the future. And as I said, we have developed a specific strategy for that is sort of embedded in our more generic strategy, where we tackle international cooperation, the legal framework, research and education, the technology and business aspects, and last but not least, also the financial or the funding instruments. So since 2016, a number of things have happened, and I think we can be proud as a very small country to having been part of the 8 founding partners or signatories of the Artemis Accord. So this is something we believe is an important initiative as well, to bring the community around the table and discuss how this could be best done in the future. One element also that characterized Luxembourg is that it was the second country in the world having a dedicated law on the utilization of space resources. And I can't see her here now, but Dovile will certainly be able to talk more about that. She's in a panel later in a session. As I mentioned, international framework is also super important, and that means that Luxembourg has engaged also a lot of efforts being active in the various committees and working groups that will contribute also to set an international framework for the use of space resources. And then I finish with ESRIC. ESRIC is also a very, very unique creation in Luxembourg. It's the European Space Resources Innovation Center. I think there is nowhere around the world a center like that. We are very proud that we could already have ESA as a strategic partner to develop this center. And so Catherine is sitting here, so if you have questions, she will certainly do better than I will do now in explaining all the things that ESRIC is doing. But ESRIC is a very important element of our strategy. We need now to invest much more in creation of knowledge, creation of technologies, in methodologies, understanding all what is behind and what the consequences are of utilization of resources. And we have supported the development of ESRIC over the last few years, which is very successful, and it's growing quick and well. And we are also very proud that we have signed now for or to guarantee the financing of the center until 2029. So what is ESRIC doing? And ESRIC is, of course, first focusing on the research aspects. And here it's really about industry-relevant research and development activities and state-of-the-art facilities. And so here we are preparing really the terrain for these future activities, also on industrial level. And I'm coming back on this spirit of commercialization. The second aspect that is very important here in the development of ESRIC is this commercialization aspect. So there are already today initiatives to support the startups in their long-term ambition to one day being able to use the space resources. And I think there is an award that is planned also tomorrow. And last but not least, and I think this is particularly important here in Europe, we need to bring the whole community around and motivate them and make so that everyone knows everyone here. So in Europe, of course, but even beyond our borders in Europe. But I think one of the duties of the center is as well to connect researchers, entrepreneurs, industry, and I would even add investors. And so one important event that Giuseppe mentioned as well is, of course, the organization of the Space Resources Week that we will also have the next year and organized, of course, by ESRIC and certainly with our support as well. So I hope this gives you, just in a nutshell, the main priorities in Luxembourg. Definitely an economy and commercially driven mind spirit, but also with a long-term vision in positioning itself in the utilization of space resources for the next decades. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. Next will be a pre-recorded message by Arti, director of UNOSA.
Dear colleagues, I'm happy to address you here today for this 8th Global Moon Village Symposium and Workshop, and my thanks to the Moon Village Association and the Luxembourg Space Agency for hosting this event. UNOSA is a gateway between space technology, data and solutions, and the needs of member states, But first and foremost, we are Secretariat to COPUS, the Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space. COPUS is the historical seat of multilateral space governance that started with the Outer Space Treaty back in 1967 and that has evolved all the way to the long-term sustainability guidelines in 2019. In the coming years, it is our hope that COPUS will also successfully develop lunar governance principles to promote and support the safe, peaceful and sustainable exploration of our closest celestial body. When we think of the Moon, the fundamental principles of the Outer Space Treaty are particularly appropriate, concerning, for example, authorizing and supervising lunar activities, avoiding harmful interference with activities of others, ensuring planetary protection and information sharing. These are just some of the principles that were agreed in 1967, but they continue to be very relevant for sustainable lunar activities. As I'm sure most of you are aware, this last summer, COPUS established an action team on sustainable lunar activities called ATLAC. 2 weeks ago, at the first intersessional meeting of ATLAC, I spoke of the timeliness of gathering to discuss the safety and sustainability of activities on and around the Moon. I reminded delegates gathered in Vienna of the need to appreciate that their work in ATLAC should neither be political nor academic, but rather that it will have real consequences. I recalled that there are high expectations both of the substance of what they will work on and the pace at which they will work, given the numerous lunar activities already happening and the dizzying number of planned visits to the Moon in the coming years. In consulting with member states before our first ATLAC intersessional meeting, UNUSA received inputs from various member states who cited several issues that they believed the team should work on. They include international coordination of lunar exploration missions, interoperability of technologies and practices, and responsible and sustainable lunar activities. I urge the delegates to factor the principles of coordination, interoperability, and responsibility into all elements of lunar activities, from the early stages of mission planning and the development of operational expectations, through the conduct of the activity itself, ensuring no harmful interference, all the way to winding up the mission and sharing the scientific data for the benefit of all. Throughout this, there is a need for timely, open and transparent information sharing, particularly on the nature, conduct, location and results of lunar missions. With so many missions planned in coming years, this is an area where UNUSA's role in fostering the timely dissemination of information will become increasingly important. When it comes to lunar activities, though, we should not underestimate the role of the private sector. Given that companies are often the ones who are driving the development of solutions, we want to make sure that the action team also benefits from their inputs on what topics they believe need to be addressed. We hope that the action team will provide a much-needed framework for all actors to participate in establishing practices for safe and sustainable lunar operations. The stakes are high. We all witnessed just a few months ago how 2 astronauts had to stay far longer than expected on board the ISS. In a few years, this kind of situation could occur on the Moon, and it's down to COPUS, and more specifically ATLAC, to make sure that solutions are worked on to maximize safety and minimize the risks in case such situations occur. Let's think a bit about that example. What prevented the astronauts from returning sooner? Incredibly, it was the lack of compatibility of spacesuits from one launcher to another. Can we afford to let this happen with lunar missions as well? We should also remember that the Moon is only 1/6 of the size of the Earth, and there is no way that it can sustain multiple navigation and communications constellations around it like the Earth can. This is not just a reminder of the need for sustainable solutions, but in fact another driver of the need for interoperability and the warning that we must not do to the lunar orbit what we have done to Earth's orbit. Given the comparatively smaller size of our Moon, congestion in lunar orbit has the potential to escalate and become a problem far quicker than we might anticipate. And because of its distance from Earth and the different physical characteristics on and around the Moon, problems in lunar orbit may be even harder to solve than they are around the Earth. I am, however, hopeful. I only have to think back to UNUSA's first conference on sustainable lunar activities, organized in June earlier this year, where every speaker from governments, space agencies, and industry all talked about the importance of interoperability. At the end of the day, there is far more that unites us than divides us. This was clearly recognized during the Lunar Conference, and we must continue in this spirit and encourage all states to continue to work together. The role of industry is very important here. Governments are no longer the sole drivers of the space economy, and they will not be of the lunar economy either. They're leaning heavily on private enterprise in a bid to reduce cost, spread risk, and maximize chances of success in their missions. The question is whether industry can be relied on to put safety and sustainability above profit. After all, lunar missions are unlikely to be a mass market, and one would hope that safety and sustainability have a higher priority. This is perhaps an appropriate moment to recall the fundamental principle of the Outer Space Treaty, which is that outer space is the province of all humankind. If we truly believe that ventures into space and to the moon are for the benefit of all humankind, then governments must make clear that safety and sustainability come before profit, at least in the near term. All space activities, regardless of who carries them out, can and must remain a force for good. I hope that my thoughts will stimulate your discussions here during the symposium, and I thank you for having had me with you.
So let me welcome our next speaker, Koji Yamanaka, director from the JAXA's Space Exploration Center. Welcome.
Right. Good morning, everybody. I'm Koji Yamanaka of Japanese Space Agency, and I'm very happy to be here. And I would like to say great thanks to those for supporting this symposium, especially MBA and Luxembourg Space Agency. Thank you very much. And Bob-san, my friend. Okay, and today I'm happy to explain about the JAXA space exploration activities. Again, my sector is the JAXA Space Exploration Center. I'm a director of this section. Okay. Oh no, I should. Oh yeah, it's remote, but I. Oh, yeah. It's nicer. Thanks. Okay, so this is the overview. I will explain each item later on, so just feel what's going on, especially in JAXA. This is the Earth, Moon, Mars, and we're almost here. The space station, and we have keyboard module, and we have some transportation vehicle to the space station. And soon we will have a new version of the transportation system to the space station. And after the finalization of the space station, of course, we are looking at the commercialization space station. This part is also important for the moon to Mars as a test bed or a demonstration location. So this is also the very important part for the moon development. Also, at the moon, we will have Gateway. Gateway is a very unique kind of space station, flying so-called NRHO orbit. And we will contribute to the Gateway, and also we will contribute to some cargo transportation system to the Gateway. And the pressurized rover on the surface of the moon, and landing capability, and also ISRU or resource investigation mission. We call it the LUPEX, and some lunar demonstration, including interoperability discussion, which mentioned earlier. Yes, I need clock. and some cargo landers. And it is as a moon to Mars, we will have a sample return mission and some international future mission on the Mars. So first, Gateway. There are several contributions that JAX can do, but mainly we are supporting Gateway first by the ECLOS system for IHAB, habitation function, environment control and life support system. I have, and also some Japanese batteries are used. Japanese battery has been used for many years for ISS, but we will provide the battery to the Gateway as well. Also, we will have a logistic module to the Gateway. It is our nickname. It's the nickname. It's XG, because it is a family vehicle of the HTV and the HTVX and the HTV Gateway. So not official name yet, but we are calling it XG Gateway. It is a logistic supply vehicle to the Gateway. So we are here. We completed the HV mission, 9 missions successfully. I was a developer and flight director of this vehicle, so I still love this vehicle very much. But this mission completed, and now we are preparing the new version of the HVX, which will be launched very soon. And after that, as I said, post ISS and the Japan module and the cargo service, and we want to support these activities as much as we can as an agency. And again, this will be very important still for the demonstration and technology development to the Moon and Mars as well. Pressurized rover. It's a big one. Sorry. So this provides a long-range transport and broad surface exploration by crewed and uncrewed mission. It will have the uncrewed mission as well. So it is considered as human vehicle, but the many months is actually performed by the uncrewed, so like 40 days and 300 days. So uncrewed duration is longer, mainly for 2% for cargo, but for contingency case and some others. And this year is a very happy year for us because we could have joint agreement. NASA and the Japan government had that international agreement. Same. So we are developing the vehicle based on this agreement, joint agreement, and the last launch date is 2031. Of course, it will be affected not by just by our development, also the launcher development. So, but our target date is somewhere around 2030. Right. Next one, lunar surface exploration. This year was also a good year for us because we could land on the moon. So it is a small demonstrator smart lander for investigation the moon, but it could land on the moon successfully. The very high accuracy, very good. And this picture is taken by the small robot, which is separated from this slim lander. We're also very much excited with this picture. Although it is upside down because of some thruster failures, which happened at the time of the landing. But the functionality, all functionality are very well, and it's actually spent 3 lunar nights, 3 overnight. So it worked 4 months or 5 months is on the space. On the surface of the moon. So we are very happy with this result. Using this capability, we want to develop the next Lunar Polar Explorer, LUPEX. It is a joint mission between ISRO and JAXA, and of course ESA and NASA. So we are happy with this. Okay, 10 minutes more. A little bit more information about LUPEX. It is an initial observation of water in the lunar polar regions. Quantity, ground truth data regarding the quantity of the water ice and quality, understanding distribution, conditions, and the form of the water and other volatiles, including water. And the resource exploration, this support feasible assessment to use as a resource. And this vehicle will also very good for us because we want to have the pressurized rovers. So this will give us some very fundamental information which is required to develop the future version of the rover, such as the pressurized rover. So I think it is very good for us. Then lunar infrastructure. Lunar communication, positioning, navigation, timing, so-called commercial PNT. So now we are working with agency friends like NASA and the ESA and JAXA for the interoperability, which she mentioned. It is very important. So interoperability documentation is open to the public, so please refer. I think it is the current version of the version 5. It is open public, so please look at what kind of interoperability we are thinking and submit it to the public. And also we want to use some commercial capabilities like a small lander. This example is iSpace. I think someone from iSpace will present this week as well. That we're working together and we are supporting their development as much as we can. We are very much happy with their activities. And also the future, but near future, companies, commercial companies and institute collaboration for lunar infrastructures. So energies, construction, food. I hope we want to include the Japanese sushi if it is in a study phase, but not just the sushi, good food for that human can eat on the surface of the lunar surface. And we are wishing to join to the not just established space company, but also the new space industry, which is not related, which not involved so far to the space, but we are hoping these, we are welcoming these companies to join to the lunar surface in lunar infrastructure development. So Japanese government is very supportive by the many programs, and also we JAXA have a space exploration innovation hub center, which is a similar center with our JAXA Space Exploration Center. We are, brother and sister relations center. So we are working together to pick up or welcome good technology, which is not at this moment yet to the space related, but Japan has several different areas we can work together in that area. So we want to work together with these people. The last page is not moon, but it is a part of the moon to Mars. The framework. It's we will send that soon. So-called MMX, Martian Moons Exploration, the vehicle. It is a sample return mission from Martian Moon, Phobos. as you know, the Mars has two moons, Phobos and Deimos. So we want to do this sample return from Phobos, but not just the Phobos. We want to do the some observation of Deimos and Mars itself. So we hope we can see some very good vision from the surface of the moon of Mars. And this is a technology that for the future activities of the Mars, where we can go to the Mars and then come back to the Earth, because this is a sample return mission. So and this is a joint mission, international joint mission, DLR, CNES, NASA, ESA, ASI. So we appreciate their support and the cooperation all the time. And I think that basically the last chart. Yes, and I will be today and tomorrow join this MBA. So if someone has some interest about Japanese space activities or industry, I'm very happy to talk. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this interesting presentation. This brings us to the next presentation on international cooperation on ILRS, the International Lunar Research Station, given by Wang Chongmin, from the director of the Deep Space Exploration Center in China. Welcome.
Okay, thank you very much. So it's a great opportunity to have the presentation here on the Moon Village Symposium and the workshop. I just heard that it's the first time the Chinese to present the RS, so maybe you are very interested on this project. And because of the time frame, so it's I'm not will go in detail about the activities and of the China Deep Space Mission and also the lunar mission, but I will focusing on the international cooperation principle for the RS. So my name is Wang, is from the Deep Space Exploration Laboratory, which is the direct subsidiary of China National Space Agency, and our laboratory is responsible for all of the Chinese deep space exploration missions. This include the lunar mission, Mars mission, planetary mission, the solar exploration, asteroid defense mission, and other the universe exploration. So we are just one of the kind of the leading institute in the world for the deep space. So we are not going into the detail because it's I think we need a lot of time to explain each of the missions. So for every of this is a lunar mission, that we have the Chang'e series is already successful, have launched from the Chang'e 1 to Chang'e 6. Everybody, if you have been in Milan this year, you have seen the lunar sample from the far side of the moon have brought back successfully this year by the Chang'e 6. So this is the first time of a human being to take the lunar sample from the far side. And in the 2 years later, we will launch the Chang'e 7. So it's similar with Japanese mission that will be find out the direct evidence of the ice water on the south pole of the moon. And in the 2028, we will launch the Chang'e 8. There will be have the basic structure of some of the infrastructures on the south pole of the moon. So for the planetary exploration, so in the next year we will launch. So you know that 4 years ago we have launched the first of the Mars Explorer. They have the soft landing successfully, and in the next year we will launch another one, the Tianwen-2. We will have this sample return from the asteroid, near Earth asteroid, and it's in the 2028, we will launch the Mars sample return, the mission, and hopefully get the Mars sample before the 2031. So we will also have to implement 2 years later about the first Chinese of the asteroid defense the mission, and we will also developing the super heavy launcher as the new kind of generation of the ability of the service. So let's go back to the IRS, International Lunar Research Station. So people is quite interested. What is the IRS? Actually, this is the concept is not new. It's initial from the 2016, but actually it is this one is just the start from the last year. So it's we have several things like this. Firstly, it's joint implement by the different countries. It's not only China, but it's so many countries have involved. The secondly is the scalable and maintainable, the comprehensive experiment infrastructure on the surface of Moon and the orbit of Moon, and also the cislunar space. And this is also the long-term robotic, the short-term the maintained participate infrastructure. So in the short, this is firstly, there's a comprehensive the fundamental the experiment infrastructure. The secondly, this is an international scientific research platform. And the third one is also very great of an international cooperation platform. So this is some of the scientific the object of RAS. So it will be find out what is the origin of the Moon to make some lunar geology survey, and also we have the survey on the universe to find out what the down age and early age of the universe, and will be to find out what the relationship between the sun, the Earth, and the Moon, and also we will do a lot of the scientific, some lifetime the experiment on the surface and the orbit of the Moon, and also the in situ resource utilization. So this is the compass of the RAS. This is totally the 10 system. So I will not go to detail one by one of each of the system, but this is a 10 system is have deployed on the cislunar space and the lunar surface, and also the on ground. So it included the power supply, the command information, the lunar surface transportation, the scientific operation, the survival and protection, cislunar transportation as a space segment, and also the launch vehicle, the TTNC, the scientific application, and also operation support. This is on ground. Okay, so for RS, there's the huge of the scientific the project. They will divide it. It will be taken several years. So we divided it into 2 phases. The phase 1 is a basic model. It says will be in the next 10 years. There will be firstly to set up the permanent the station on the south pole of the Moon, and we will have some for permanent station. We will have with the capacity of 100-kilometer operation range, and we will have some infrastructures like the power supply, like the information tower satellite, to have the interconnection and the interoperation between all of those, the robotic infrastructure, the human landing infrastructure, and also the international missions. So also one is the important milestone is we'll make the first Chinese human landing on the Moon before the 2030. The second phase will be another next 10 years. So similar to the armies that beside of the surface of the Moon will have some different of other stations on the near side and back side, and also will have an orbit station on the lunar orbit, and it will be to set up a sustainable operational scientific platform. We'll have some long-term robotic and the short-term human participate, the infrastructures, and also prepare for the next step, the Mars human landing mission. So regarding to the international cooperation, so it's the China or president have said that there's the Chang'e mission, the China lunar mission, is belong not only to China, but also belong to the world. And also this is we welcome all of the parties, all of countries in the world to participate in the development of the International Lunar Research Station. So in the last year in China, the Chinese government have initiated several of the cooperation initiative RS. This is include the peaceful development and the use of the zone, and have extensive consultation, joint construction, and benefits and share with the parties. And we can have the different kind of the cooperation form, and we will share the scientific outcome and protect the lunar resources. And finally, we will initiate to establish an international cooperation organization. There are several of the cooperation, the scope. This is from the concept study, from the space mission level, space system level, subsystem level, equipment level, which is on the space segment, and also will be have some cooperation on the ground facility cooperation, the scientific application, and also very important for the education and training. This knowledge sharing. So first one is the concept study. So it's a partner will be together with us. A lot of people will also sensitive together. For the program, they were working on the mission planning, on the work allocation, on the implementation of plan of the program, of the site selection for areas, and also with some of to make the unified technical standards for all of the lunar activities. For the scientific applications, the scientists will working together to make the research on the lunar geology, to do the lunar-based astronomy observer, and also to study the space environment between the sun, the earth, and moon, and also to make the basic scientific experiment on the surface of the moon and orbit, and also its lunar resource utilizations. So we welcome all of the missions, global lunar missions, to work together, to have the cooperate. So under the frame of the RS, the partners will be come together to clarify the main contents of the cooperated mission, to have study the interconnections, interoperabilities, and also the data sharing. So you see that is not only the Chinese missions in the future for the Chang'e 7, Chang'e 8, and the following RS field of the mission, but also like the Russian to Lunar 26, 27, 28, and also the Thailand mission and other countries' mission, so we can have the intercoordinations. And second, it's very important that we will launch several of international collaborate the lunar project. This is the unique opportunities, lunar opportunities for the developing country to could be involved into the lunar activities. So according to the general of the engineering plan and the scientific goals, we will launch several of to develop the single satellite or independent the functional the system. The first one, where we will launch of the world, the biggest the lunar CubeSat constellation, we call the C3. So we have talked already with many of the countries, like more than 10 of the countries' institutions. They are very interested to build such of the first countries, the lunar CubeSat, and make the constellation to have the scientific detection of the gamma ray burst and also the high power and low power of the practical on the cislunar space. The second one, we will also going to put one of the lunar arc, the public service model on the surface of the moon. So we will have some of a test bed to do some life scientist and medical tests on the surface, and each of the partners countries can offer some of the samples and seeds, the vegetables, something inside for the scientific experiment. And third one is we also will call the partners to do the rover on the surface of the moon. So we call the our spider. So the surface, lunar surface, Pico Intelligent Development rover system. So there will be have like each of the country, especially the developing country. So if they have the university student team, they can just a very small investment, but you can involve into the lunar activity, like no one will be behind. So this is another the cooperation. So this is the scientific payload piggyback. So we already have made this several times, starting from the Chang'e 4 to Chang'e 6. So you see that there's many of the scientific, the instrument have the piggyback launched on the lunar orbit or the lunar surface. It's come from the Netherlands, Germany, Sweden, Italy, French, ESA, and also the Saudi Arabic, and also the Pakistan. And in the next mission, the Chang'e 7, we will another of 6 instruments will be launched in the surface of the moon. It will become from Russia, the Thailand, the Egypt, the Italy, Swiss, and also one is from United States, the Hawaii. So the cooperation is not only on the space segment, but also we are trying to have the on-ground, the segment cooperation. There will be to build a global the TTNC network facility that will invite the partners to join it to build global the deep space network and the launch recovery facility to provide such support for the international the TTNC and so also VRBI the network and also other the integrated more and more operation and maintenance. For the scientific and data sharing, so we will encourage all of the partners to establish their own of the data center. So we will have the global the scientific data sharing platform and the joint research center to implement the joint research of the lunar sample and the scientific data. So it's many of the global team is already have applied of the sample of the Chang'e 5. So it's from the near side of the moon, and I think it's next year we will open also for the sample from Chang'e 6 for the far side of the moon. And this one is very important because it's for a lot of the developing country and from some of the new emerging the country, they have the shot of the knowledge of the moon activity. Therefore, we will launch the International Education and Training Project under RS. We call it 10, 100, and 10,000. So this goal is to, in the next 10 years, we will educate more than 10,000 postgraduate, the doctor and master's students, working with more than hundreds of global universities to provide the RS, the training and the postgraduate education that will be focusing on the engineering technology, the scientific research, and also the project management. So we have already to collect the top 5 of this, the space universities of China and under the framework of the United Nations. So it's last week we just have the celebration together with UN USA. The last one, the actions, is we will build our world's largest deep space city in China by 2030. So this is a city will be occupied about 2,000 acres, and the total construction about 1 million square meter. So they will be biggest the deep space center in the world, and also will become the headquarters of RS. Okay, so regarding to the partners, we welcome all of country from the in the world to participate into the RS. So this goal is in the next 10 years will be more than 50 the country and the international intergovernmental organization, more than 500 international institutions, and more than 5,000 engineers or scientists to participate into the project. And currently, we already have the global network. So it's a network, the partners, covering more than 40 countries. So from the Europe, from Africa, Asia, Latin America, and Hawaii. Yeah, so I hope that it's also partner from the North American is also will be active to participate. The cooperation with Europe. So we have already a lot of the cooperation with European countries, and this cooperation is also have promoted vigorously by the president of the country. So you see that 4 pictures. The first one is the conclusion, the agreement of RS together with China, Russian, with the 2 presidents. And also, when the Chinese president visited Serbia, and this year we have concluded also the RS agreement with Serbia, and you see that is also when the president of France and for Italy have visited China, you see that is the very deep cooperation already. The Italy institution and the French institution have the cooperation on the Chang'e 6 and Chang'e 7. So it's also have to give some of lunar sample from the Chang'e 5 as a national gift to them. So Italian one just happened in the last month. Okay, we already have quite successful cooperation on the scientific payload with the European partners. We have such for TTNC, the backup support by ESA and the CNSA each other. And we also have a lot of the European partners of the RS. And we welcome more of the European partners to join the RS. So as I said, that today we are the global Moon Village Symposium. We're thinking that the RS, International Lunar Research, is the future of human Moon Village. Therefore, I have bring a short of the video presentation to you to enjoy.
The vast universe sparks the exploration dream of humankind. The moon has been endowed with endless reverie and good wishes since ancient times. We keep on exploration of the moon for thousands of years. We want to know where the moon came from. We want to know where the universe was born. We want to know where the humankind will reach in the future. We want to discover the mysteries of science to benefit our world. Moon is an important object for finding these answers. To discover the mysteries, brave humans began their exploration to the moon. Over the past 20 years, China has completed 9 successful missions of orbiting, landing, and sample return. Chang'e 6 has, for the first time in human history, successfully brought samples back from the far side of the moon. This time, we come with greater coverage, stronger determination, and more ambitious goals. We are no longer satisfied with short stays. We are here for long-term exploration. The International Lunar Research Station, ILRS, makes these visions possible. It will give us a deeper understanding of the moon and help us find the answers. The ILRS, initiated by China and participated by multiple countries, aims to build a long-term autonomously operated and short-term human-participated, scalable, maintainable, space-ground integrated, and comprehensively operated international large-scale scientific infrastructure on the lunar surface and in lunar orbit, with functions of power supply, central command and control, communication and navigation, cislunar round trip, lunar surface transportation, as well as scientific operations to support multidisciplinary and multi-objective, large-scale scientific and technical activities for scientific exploration, resource utilization, and technology verifications. It is divided into 2 phases. By 2035, a central station area will be established at the lunar South Pole, with the capability of scientific research operations within 100-kilometer range. Connected by integrated cislunar information networks, the unmanned lunar missions, human lunar landing missions, and international missions will be interconnected and interoperable to form a comprehensive lunar-based scientific research platform with essential functions and elements, capable of regular scientific experiments and in situ resource utilizations. By 2049, laying out the Lunar Orbital Station as the hub, the Lunar South Pole Station as the center, and the Lunar Equator Station and Lunar Farside Station as exploration nodes, a comprehensive lunar station network will be established to form a long-term unmanned operated and short-term human-participated, fully functional and stably operating large-scale lunar-based scientific research platform. It will have the capability for scientific research covering entire lunar surface, lunar resource utilization, and technology verifications, laying the foundation for the missions of human Mars landing and other deep space missions. Peace, development, cooperation, and mutual benefit are core concepts of ILRS. We keep the principles of peaceful use of outer space and protection of the lunar environment, and welcome international partners to jointly construct and share the benefits of International Lunar Research Station, to conduct scientific goals assessment and joint mission planning, establish a global collaborative design and operation system, coordinate the implementation of international missions, jointly develop energy, information, and transportation infrastructure within cislunar space, engage in scientific exploration and resource utilization, encourage members to share technologies, offer opportunities for international payloads piggyback, establish a global deep space TT&C, recovery and data networks, carry out lunar sample research and education and training, establish international organizations, build a headquarters for big science projects to create a high-level cooperation platform. China National Space Administration welcomes more international partners to jointly build lunar scientific research facilities, contribute to the peaceful use and global governance of outer space, and promote a shared future for mankind in outer space.
Okay. Thank you very much. Hope to join the RS. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this very interesting presentation. This brings us to an end of the first session. So next is a coffee break, one floor up, and then we start over again at 11 o'clock. Thank you.
At PwC, we've learned that trust is more important than ever. And big ideas from a community of solvers are what bring change and sustained outcomes that stand the test of time.
At PwC, we understand the power of our people. That it's not just who we are on the job,
but who we are as individuals that makes us special. And when our people take on a task, we can tackle the most important challenges facing business and our world.
We're working to build trust in business and society, as we understand the expectations for business to lead in this space.
We know transformation is key to success, and it's what keeps a business thriving and growing. That's why we're helping companies transform for the long term.
we're helping business and society do the right thing on ESG. It's not just a responsibility, but an opportunity to create long-term value.
And we know people are at the heart of it all. The world of work is also changing, so we're helping companies build a productive workforce and overall organization to navigate the journey.
These challenges cannot be solved from a single perspective. They need a human-led, tech-powered community of solvers. These challenges need the new equation.